Right. Good morning and hello, everybody. It's awesome to see you out there. You probably can see a little bit now. I got a friend with me this morning. I just have a couple thoughts to share with you today, and I thought rather than talking too long, let's just let's just spend some time worshiping and singing together. Uh, yesterday I'd encourage you to watch yesterday's if you didn't watch yesterday. But yesterday we talked about the War Eagles and we talked about the fatigue of the race. And I think one of the best ways to recharge our batteries as we bind ourselves, as we wait on the Lord, as we braid ourselves to the Lord, is to just spend some time in worship. But I was thinking this morning about the altars of Abraham. If you are not familiar with the story of Abraham, the Lord calls him out of uh, his hometown, the land of Ur, and he goes into what would later be the promised land as the Lord promised to him. And as he's along his journey, quite literally walking with God in this journey of faith, throughout his journey, he sets up these altars, and an altar is a significant place of communion with God. It takes a little bit different form than it does. We have, of course, kneeling altars at the front of the church. For Abraham, it was a place of burnt offering. It was a place of sacrifice. But it was a place that you constructed for the purpose of meeting with God. We have places that we construct for the purposes of buying coffee. We have places that we construct for the purposes of getting groceries and storing food. We have places that we construct to live in. We have places that we construct in to buy gas. There is a place that was constructed. It was the altar of God, a place of meeting with the Lord. And so as Abraham went on his journey, he sets up these four altars, and you can read about them in Genesis. But it's interesting that as you look into these altars, that it's not just like, oh hey, let's stop and set up an altar. But when you look at the actual Hebrew and the language, there is deep meaning behind these altars, and they're actually marking for Abraham. They're marking um, significant places in his journey of faith. It's almost these defining moments in his life where he is stepping into a deeper level of trust and walk with the God who has called him into this great promise. And he sets up his first altar, and he sets it up between the place of Sechem and Mori. Okay, I can't pronounce either one of those, Sechem and Mori. But if you look at what those words mean, Sechem means to bear on a shoulder, to support, and the word More means teacher. And so the first place he comes, he sets up this defining moment in his life is when he's between the one who supports and the one who teaches him. And he is coming in his faith to realize that God is actually leading him and teaching him as he goes along the way. The second altar that he sets up is between the place of Bethel, which means the house of God, and Ai, which means vanity. And it's a decision place for Abraham. It's actually close to the time in which he flees to Egypt to escape a famine, but it's a defining moment in his life where he is choosing between, am I going to dwell in the house of the Lord, or am I going to dwell in worldliness? Am I going to seek what is God's and what is of heaven, or am I going to seek the world? And that defining moment in his life where he stands between these two decisions and he chooses the Lord. The next one um, is where he builds it at a place called Mamre, and Mamre is the place where of friendship and stability are strengthened and established. And so it's this place in which he has journeyed long in his life. He's made his decision to seek after the Lord, and the Lord is establishing him in this faith. The Lord is establishing him in the rightness of this, and his faith is becoming stable. It's becoming rock solid. This is the place in which he becomes a friend of God, as Abraham, or as Paul refers to him later. And then the fourth altar, of course, is the altar where he puts his own son on the altar, where he puts Isaac on the altar, and it's that altar of sacrifice. It's that altar of which he has given himself and everything that's valuable to him fully to the Lord. And so you can see this progression, and he walks up on this hillside, this place which is later called the Lord will provide. And many scholars believe, though we can't obviously prove it, that place in which he put his son on the altar was a place called later, 2,000 years later, was called Golgotha, which is the very same mountain that God gave his son for us. But we see this progression as he walks through this journey. And if you look at Abraham's story, he had good things and he had bad things happen to him. He had a difficult journey, but he sees these checkpoints, these defining moments in his life, and he just simply stops to take note and to recognize and to make decisions and to choose. And this morning, I just want to kind of just pause. I want to come to the altar and just sing some songs with you guys. I know we sang on Sunday, but I'm going to sing with you again today anyway, and just spend some time in worship. We're going to sing "He is Exalted." So these are hopefully ones you probably know, but "He is Exalted." I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene, and then "How Great is Our God." It's been a little while since I played. My fingers are a little out of shape, but hopefully my guitar's in tune. But let's just spend some time recharging our batteries this morning and singing together. So. He is exalted, the King is exalted on high. I will praise him. He is exalted, forever exalted, and I will praise his name. For he is a Lord, forever his truth shall reign. Heaven and earth rejoice in his holy name. He is exalted, the King is exalted on high. He is exalted, the King is exalted on high. I will praise him. He is exalted, forever exalted, and I will praise his name. For he is the Lord, forever his truth shall reign. Heaven and earth rejoice in his holy name. He is exalted, the King is exalted on high. He is exalted, the King is exalted on high. I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene, and wonder how he could love me, a sinner condemned unclean, singing how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. He took my sins and my sorrows, he made them his very own, and he bore the burden to Calvary and suffered and died alone, singing how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. And with the ransomed in glory, his face I at last shall see. It will be my joy through the ages to sing of his love for me, singing how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me, singing how marvelous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvelous, how wonderful is my Savior's love for me. Sorry, I gotta capo up a little bit here. Singing how great is our God. The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God! Sing with me, how great is our God! And oh, we'll see how great is our God. And age to age he stands, and time is in his hands, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The God in three in one, Father, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God! Sing with me, how great is our God! And oh, we'll see how great is our God. You're the name above all names. You are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing how great You are worthy of all praise, and my heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. You know what I appreciate about the altars of Abraham so much is that he he came to a place where he wanted to make sure that in that choice moment in his life that he didn't forget that it was being instilled, it was being bedrocked in him, and that's one of the beauties I think of worship is that worship. You know, several of you guys, you have these songs that date all the way back to your childhood, and they go along, they merge with your story, they're a part of who you are, and they just embed. They're the altars in our life that embed those truths. We don't need to. So many times we don't need to learn anything new. We don't need to learn anything new. We need to remember what we already know. And so, thank you for joining me today. I hope you are doing well and blessed. Welcome to the Daily Link, where we take a break from our day to make sure that we don't take a break from our faith. But it's good to see you. It's Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow on Wednesday. Lord bless you. Love you guys. Bye.